A very good evening to all distinguished guests and especially to all our viewers behind the screen. It is indeed a pleasure to have you with us today as we commence the launching ceremony of the 5th edition of the Sri Lanka's first ever logistics magazine, Logistics Times, issued by the Department of Management and Finance, Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanities of the prestigious General Sir John Kothawala Defence University. The Logistics Times, a collective effort by the Department of Management and Finance and the Technical Sciences and Management Society, dates back to a history from 2016, where interviews and articles from industry personnel, lecturers, and undergraduates from KDU and even other universities are included and published. The 5th edition of the Logistics Times holds its importance as for the fullest support given to us by our main sponsor for the magazine, Hambantota International Port Group. With that in mind, and also the fact that this is the first ever online launch of an edition of the Logistics Times magazine, let me now invite the Dean, Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanities, Mr. Kitsiri Amaratunga, to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, industry participants, the staff and the student body of General Sir John Kothawala Defence University, students from other universities who are participating on this occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Dean of the Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanities of General Sir John Kothawala Defence University, I am extremely glad to have been invited to speak a few words on this very important occasion of launching the Logistics Times, 5th Logistics Times magazine of the Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanities, published by the Technical Sciences and Management Society of Intake 35. It is indeed heartening to note that the Management Society was able to publish this year's magazine as well, amidst all the difficulties that we have been undergoing due to the COVID-19 pandemic situation in the country. In fact, I am thankful to the Technical Sciences and Management Society for continuing the tradition of publishing this magazine for the 5th time without a break. So we are not able this time to have the function as we used to have during the past few years, where we had a lot of functions organized alongside this publication. But anyways, it is, I believe, an achievement under the circumstances to be able to launch the magazine in this way. And the magazine itself has come out nicely, and the quality of the magazine has been maintained as we used to have in the past, despite all these difficulties. I should make this an opportunity to mention a few names, especially the sponsor, the chief sponsor for this year's magazine, HIPG, Hambantota International Port Group. I should mention the name of Mr. Tissa Wickramasinghe, the Chief Operating Officer, for the kind assistance and sponsorship that was given for publishing this magazine. And in fact, we are doubly thankful to the Hambantota International Port Group, especially because we found it extremely difficult to find sponsors this time. And most of the earlier sponsors had backed away, understandably due to the present situation. So under such circumstances, it is a great thing that the HIPG came forward and assisted us in this effort. So also I should say thank you to our Vice Chancellor, Major General Melinda Pires, especially because had he not been there as the Vice Chancellor, and had it not been for his leadership, of course, this time magazine would not have been able to be launched. And also, and we should be also thankful to him because it was during his earlier tenure that the faculty was able to commence this Logistics Day as well as the publication. So we are thankful on behalf of the faculty to the Vice Chancellor for all the assistance and encouragement and advice, guidance, and everything. I should not forget to mention the name of Dr. Namali Sirisoma, who was my predecessor, the former dean of the Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanities, and she, of course, was the pioneer of this Logistics Day concept and also the publication of this magazine. So she is still behind the whole scene, and she is supporting the faculty and the management, Technical Sciences Management Society with her guidance all the time. And we appreciate Dr. Namali's assistance as well. And then I should be thankful to Dr. Upali Rajapaksha, who is the present head of the Department of Management and Finance. And he has always been behind this thing, and I'm sure he must have helped the Management Society to do the job in style. And the lecturer in charge, Dr. Kalpana Ambepitia, she was the one who was really busy during this period to make this a reality, working closely with the society, the members, the committee and all that, so that we could launch it on the last day of the year. So I am thankful to her also, and she has been a tremendous courage, enthusiasm for the students. And we also should remember Mr. Champika Gunasekara, who was the former assistant registrar, senior assistant registrar. He is currently the senior assistant registrar exams, and we should remember him because he was very supportive for all the other clubs that published the magazine and also conducted the Logistics Day during the last few years. And also the role played by the present assistant registrar, Ms. Gaini Cardi Silva, is appreciated. And I should also make mention of the assistance and the guidance and the support given by all the lecturers in the Department of Management and Finance, especially those who are dealing with the subject of logistics like Mr. Sharik. And if their assistance were not there, I think this effort would not have been a success. And finally, I should mention the effort made by the committee, the Management Society, here headed by Chaminda Navaruwan, the president of the Management Society of Intake 35, and the secretary Tarushi Gamarachi, and the chief editor Natasha Jason, the treasurer, and all the other committee members for a job well done. And I appreciate the hard work done by you, and I'm sure this exercise that you have been engaged in must have helped you tremendously to enhance your skills and your leadership and all the other soft skills that are required for young graduates. And this experience of publishing a magazine of this sort is surely going to be very helpful in your future careers and future academic life, etc. So therefore, I congratulate you on behalf of the Faculty of Management and Social Sciences and Humanities for the effort and job well done. Thank you so much.
COVID-19, a critical situation in the country and in the world. Yet there was this industrial partner that led us to the greatest success of the Logistics Times magazine this year, despite all difficulties. Let us now take time to recognize our main sponsor for the magazine, the Hambantota International Port Group. Without further ado, the invitation goes out to the Chief Operating Officer at the Hambantota International Port Group, who is a marine engineer by profession with over 25 years of experience in the ports and shipping industry. Being a specialist in public-private partnership initiatives, this individual played a significant role in the PPP ventures of SAGT and CICT and brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to Hambantota International Port, a public-private partnership between the Sri Lanka Ports Authority and China Merchant Port Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Tissa Wickramasinghe.
Okay, a very good evening. On behalf of Hambantota International Port Group, it's our privilege to collaborate with the General Sir John Kothalavala Defence University, and on this occasion where they are launching the Logistics Times 5th edition magazine, we consider it a privilege to be the main sponsor of the event. I think it's a very good idea that the line of communication through this kind of magazine gives the world a chance to see the experiences and the case studies that the students have gone through this kind of communication. Going on to the current situation with regard to the supply and logistics chain, I think the COVID-19 pandemic took the whole world by storm. I don't think any country was prepared to meet such a contingency. More so, the developed countries, I think, faced it faced the impact more than what the Asian or the developing countries did. So what came out of it did a lot of good to the whole global trading patterns. The main focus being identified that all the developing countries and the developed economies were dependent majority on one source of supply, which was from China. And what this did was that all these countries, the developed economies, started on a program of multi-sourcing, which meant that the location of factories, nearshoring, onshoring, which was already on the cards, started to expand further, whereby in Asia itself, the factories started spreading. So this brought more attention on the supply chain industry. I must say that the industry per se uh, proved their agility during this crisis time by adapting to meet the immediate necessities. Although there was some time lag in responding, it was purely due to circumstances which are linked to each chain. Coming on to the maritime sector, I think it was the maritime sector that kept on moving continuously and keeping the supply chains open. If you look at the direct comparison between the shipping lines and the airlines, whilst most airlines suffered severe economic downturn, the shipping lines went in the opposite direction. In fact, the current status of the shipping lines are such that there aren't any idling capacity container ships in the world compared to what was happening in the previous years, where you always had about 20% of your fleet idling. Now you can see almost 90% utilization, which means the shipping lines have consolidated and done well during the time of this crisis. The fact that the shipping lines are doing well, and the fact that the shipping lines have declared such good financial results during the last 2 quarters is a very good sign, and is good for all people in the supply chain industry. This gives the industry people more options, especially on the supply chain aspect. If you look at what some of the top lines are doing, is now they are coming up with end-to-end solutions, which means from the factory right up to the consignee's premises. So which again is a new thing, and for shipping lines to adapt that, being in the center of the chain, is something unique. How this will pan out, we are yet to see, but the fact that most of the major shipping lines are going down the same track is something that we need to look forward with interest. So as far as Sri Lanka is concerned, at Hambantota we did have the normal setback at the initial stages of the pandemic. But what we did was we planned ourselves out so well that we split the company into two work groups, so that the two work groups never mixed with each other. And we are working on 2-week cycles, and we guaranteed the continuity of the port operation. This is something unique that we did, and we found most of the organizations also did follow on the same suite. So I think from a business angle at Hambantota, we went down during the first few months, but then we caught up on the volumes during the last 2 quarters, and I would say that given the circumstances, we have done extremely well. Also during the same year, we increased the business on the energy sector, whereby the gas volumes went, LPG gas volumes went up. We brought in we mobilized the tank farm facility, and we hope to go into the bunkering trade by early next year. And these are all things that happened during the COVID time. We also brought in the largest vessel ever to come into the port of Hambantota during this year. So these are all positive signs on the maritime sector. If you look at the port of Colombo, I know they did take a hit as usual as compared with all other ports, and they went into crisis mode for about 2 weeks due to the spread of the COVID among most of the employees in all three terminals. But they have now recovered, and they are back on track, and they are doing well. So I think the COVID-19 definitely had an impact on the global economy, but which affected all countries. But it brought the focus more into the Asian region, and that will help us grow further. And the learnings from this, we believe, will be the way forward. With regard to our partnership with the university, I believe the students have selected the most appropriate and the most valuable profession to embark on with regard to by taking up studies in the logistics industry. As I mentioned earlier, the logistics industry is a very dynamic industry. You need to be very agile, should be able to adapt to changes very soon, and these are not things that are actually written in the textbooks. So I think the students have taken firstly by selecting this field of study, and next by being able to share their learning experiences by moving into the industry, which gives a very wide scope. You with this kind of studies, you can go into any airline, any shipping line, courier companies, freight forwarding. So you have a very wide horizon where you can select your career from. So with that, I would like to conclude by thanking the university for enabling us to be the main sponsor at this event, and you can have our commitment that we'll work together with you to the future as well. Thank you.
Challenges in integrated logistics optimization, the comprehensive theme behind this edition of the Logistics Times magazine. To give a brief insight to our audience about this particular topic, let me now invite Dr. Namali Sirisoma, former Dean, Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanities, who is also a member of the Advisory Committee of the Logistics Times 5th edition, currently serving as the Director of the newly established Career Guidance Unit of General Sir John Kuthalawala Defence University.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to see the launch of 5th edition of the Logistics Time 2020, even after so many disturbances due to COVID-19. So we would like to welcome you all who have registered for this session and who have joined us with us today. I will give a small introduction to this Logistics Time magazine and how we came this far, and the content of this magazine also. So we started this first journal in 2016 as the first Logistics Time journal in Sri Lanka by intake 31 students. Ms. Gara Jayasuriya was the first editor of this journal. We had to struggle a lot to start this journal, to find people and find sponsors to launch this magazine. So we are grateful to all our sponsors of our first magazine, the platinum sponsor South Asia Gateway Terminals, gold sponsor Sri Lankan Airlines, and 2 silver sponsors Vikramaratna Private Limited, Hemas Logistics and Demo Lanka. So because of the success story of the first journal we launched in 2016, we found that we should continue this as the journal of logistics in Sri Lanka every year, and this was done by undergraduates of Kuthalawala Defence University students. So we proudly launched this in the Logistics Day 2016 with many industry participants. So it was highly appreciated by many people in the industry. The media publicity was given in many newspapers on this magazine, and it was highly recognized. So we decided to continue our journey with the other issues. So the second issue came up in 2017, and many key people in the industry gave their interviews for the second magazine as well. So it was again a successful ending of the journal, and we launched it in the Logistics Day 2017. Then the issue 3 was completely on humanitarian logistics, because that time Sri Lanka faced many disasters and we had to take many actions on these humanitarian logistics. The need of these humanitarian logistics were identified that time. So, the third issue came in that field. Again, key industry people joined us in the logistics day, and it was launched by the students of logistics management and technical sciences students. So, issue 4 was launched on logistics and operations in international trade and the way forward. Again, all the students got involved, and key people from the industry gave their interviews for the journal and launched in the logistics day. Parallel to this, we had a panel discussion with these key people, and they highly recognized the content and the quality of the magazine. Parallel to that, we conducted a school awareness program, because we want to give this awareness for school children when they decide their higher studies. And again, in the school curriculum, the logistics management has been introduced recently. So, we started it giving the awareness to school children through this logistics day and our management club of Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanities. Today is the most exciting day, that is because we are going to launch the 5th edition of the Logistics Times magazine. So, few more minutes we have to launch this magazine, and it will contain many information and interviews done with key people from the industry. So, this year our theme is integrated logistics systems. So, we have to consider many areas like warehouse management, transport management, real-time location systems, inventory management, reverse logistics, security, etc. So, we have identified key people who can provide us valuable information on integrated logistics systems, and we have included all these interviews, their information, their thoughts, strategies that we required in the industry. So, you can see all these interviews and their ideas in the 5th edition of the Logistics magazine. So, with the COVID-19 pandemic, so the system requirements and the operations of in the logistic field was completely challenged. So, we had to undergo serious changes, quick changes of the system, new changes in the systems, and we had to adapt to these new systems within a short period. So, therefore, all the people in this industry face this challenge, and they had to identify new system development, new strategies in their operations. So, when we compare these new strategies, we have to identify the optimized solutions, then IT applications, then the security, especially cyber security when we go with IT applications, last mile delivery, etc. So, new topics came up in the industry in this distribution system. So, the current topic is the distribution of this COVID-19 vaccine, which requires like minus 70 degrees Celsius coolers in transportation. So, we have to identify how we can get used to this new normal. So, how we know that we are going in the correct path? So, we have to do a lot of research and education and awareness. So, the researchers are the best group of people who can find very effective and productive solutions that you can practice under new normal. So, therefore, the academicians, the universities, researchers, they have to play a major role with this new condition. So I'm really happy the efforts taken by these students of Kuthalawala Defence University, because we always try to think out of the box and take actions quickly as possible, and then we try to come back to normal within a very short time. So if we see this magazine, so this was done by editorial board. So I should thank the people behind the success of this magazine, Dr. Kalpana Ambepitiya, who was the lecturer in charge, then Dr. Upai Rajapaksha, head of the Department of Management and Finance, chief editor Natasha, and then chief photographer Supun, then all our editorial board, then the members of the KDU Management Club, including the executive committee members, and all the students of Intake 35, because they worked so hard to see the success story of this 5th edition of the Logistics Times magazine. So we want to thank all our sponsors today, and the other industry people who gave us their advices and their assistance, and I hope they will continue their assistance in our future programs as well, because we want to take this Logistics Times magazine to a next level in the very soon. So please join us and help us and work with KDU, and you can see many exciting events, outputs, products of students of KDU in the future. So thank you so much for all your assistance so far.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the time that we've all been waiting for. The official launch of the 5th edition of the Logistics Times magazine. Let us now witness the presentation of the magazine to the Vice Chancellor of General Sir John Kuthalawala Defence University, Major General M.P. Peiris, RWP, RSP, VSV, USP, NDC, PSC, by the members of the Advisory Committee, former Dean Dr. Namali Sirisoma, Dr. Kalpana Ambepitiya, Dr. Vasantha Premaratna, and on behalf of the Executive Committee of the Technical Sciences and Management Society for the year 2019-2020, President Chamindu Nawaruan, Treasurer Banu Mudalige, and Editor Natasha Jansen. This would have stayed as a dream if it wasn't for the various individuals who gave their fullest support to make this dream a reality. Let me now invite the editor of the 5th edition of the Logistics Times magazine, Natasha Jansen, to extend our heartiest gratitude to all those who supported.
Good evening, Vice Chancellor, Major General Milinda Peiris, RWP, RSP, VSV, USP, NDC, PSC, Mr. Kitsiri Amaratunga, Dean, Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanities, former Dean Dr. Namali Sirisoma, Dr. Kalpana Ambepitiya, and members of the Advisory Committee, lecturers of Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanities, invitees, members of the Editorial Committee, undergraduates, ladies and gentlemen. I feel greatly honored to be up here in the launching ceremony of the Logistics Times 5th edition. It was definitely a challenging journey to all of us, but I am extremely proud that we were able to make this year's edition a reality. Without further ado, let me thank everyone who is behind the success of Logistics Times 5th edition. Firstly, I would like to thank our Vice Chancellor, Major General Milinda Peiris, RWP, RSP, VSV, USB, NDC, PSC for making this whole event a reality and for the support extended to our team in launching this magazine. I am in debt to the Advisory Committee of the 5th edition of Logistics Times, consisting Dr. Namali Sirisoma, Dr. Kalpana Ambepitiya, Ms. Krishanti Anandavansa, Dr. Vasantha Premaratna, Mr. Sabin Sharik, our Dean, Mr. Kitsiri Amaratunga, Head of Department, Dr. Upali Rajapaksha, Assistant Registrar, Ms. Gainika De Silva, and all the lecturers and non-academic staff of the Department of Management and Finance and Department of Languages for continuously supporting us from day one. On behalf of the Department of Management and Finance, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our main sponsor, Hambantota International Port Group, for their generous sponsorship during this time of great uncertainty towards the 5th edition of Logistics Times. We are grateful for your support and encouragement in helping us meet the challenges of the current situation of the world. I also extend my thanks to all the interviewees that contributed to this year's Logistics Times edition in valuable insights despite their busy schedules during a challenging time which has affected to us all. My sincere gratitude goes to the Editorial Committee of Logistics Times 5th edition for their enormous effort and effective contribution towards the magazine. Thank you for being extremely helpful and positive in making this edition a reality. My heartfelt gratitude goes to the Executive Committee of Technical Sciences and Management Society, especially our Treasurer Banu Mudalike and our President Chamidu Naruan for their overall support towards making this event a success. I am extremely grateful to all the writers, our seniors, undergraduates of Intake 35, 36 and 37 of FMSH for their support and cooperation towards making this event a success. Finally, a big thank you goes to all the viewers present here today for the support and encouragement. I appreciate every single person, every like, share, interaction and encouraging word. We have been overwhelmed by the support we have received so far, and I would like to offer our sincere thanks to everyone who has been involved in the launch of Logistics Times 5th edition during this difficult time, working collectively and tirelessly for months. We would be delighted to hear your comments or suggestions, and I encourage you to write to us if you have any views or opinions on this year's issue. Thank you very much for your time. Stay safe and have a happy New Year.
Every good thing must come to an end. And here we are at the end of the launching ceremony of the 5th edition of the Logistics Times. Before we bid goodbye, an announcement to all enthusiastic viewers. The e-version of the magazine will now be available on the university website www.kdu.ac.lk. Thank you very much for spending your precious time with us today, even despite your busy schedules. Hoping you had an insightful evening, we bid you goodbye, wishing you a very happy and a prosperous New Year.